that it's perception and that specifically the thing that they're talking about, the perception. So that I don't. Or I get that, that's part of it, I mean, they only meet once a month.
So it's, you know, there's a lot of people that want to.
You and I both know we can always do a special meeting.
You can, but you know, the applicants pay a lot of money to have their whole project teams drive down.
Sure, they were all right here.
I think
and
it's
they're-
good, Jen.
Yes, thank you. Are you here, Joe?
I'm here, good, yes.
Thanks very much. Thank you, my dear. Now let's hope I get my little grant.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, thank you.
Are you applying for a grant?
I am just on a writing grant, so, but I needed a letter from Tracy, because they said, oh, well, you have a part-time job as the clerk for the historic commission, and I was like, well, yeah, it's $15 an hour, so, for about 10 hours every 2 weeks. So,
Yeah, it's a labor of love,
Yeah.
clearly.
But anyway, so I know Cassandra looked at me because they said, oh, could you state your name for the record? And I did. And she looked at me, she goes, oh, I know who you are. And I said, yes, me too. But I said, come on, you know, this is not big time politics. And those people, I knew it was Crystal Mines and her whole group.
Mhm.
They're local. Come on. I would think that they would want it to be public.
Yeah. I mean, I can assure you, there's no weird stuff going on. It's
That's not, you know, it's not me.
No,
I'm
I
just-
know.
I'm just
I mean, I
knowing
know that's the
I've
perception.
learned from Phil, Foreman, frankly, and he is very vigorous about that. And he's like, you know, if we don't have a forum or if we
Well, we don't have a
don't
forum,
have access to Zoom, he said there's, and we are publicly advertising it. And I have access to the City of Hudson website, which I tried to get on because I wanted to notify everybody
Mhm.
in real time that the Zoom's broken. You know, we will continue this public hearing on March, I think they said 13th or something. But I couldn't get access.
I know, it's like a big problem. It was nice when we had, what's his name, who was help, like in real time helping, yeah, Michael.
Yes, but I mean, I could, and if you guys, you feel free to talk with Bill about it, or if you guys agree, I said, anyway, I said to a few people who were there that night, because I came just because I wanted to learn about the Front Street project.
Is that color, so?
No, I don't think it's colored, no, it was the affordable housing.
Oh, Mill Street. Mill Street. Yeah, Mill Street.
And hi. And so I would be happy to get involved in that way I have access because Michael gave me access, but I don't have the power or the authority to change in real time the calendar.
Right.
So that's why I said to them, you guys, for all we know, we've got 30, 40 people trying to Zoom in and they can't, it's inactive. And I said, so you can't have this meeting. And then Cassandra said, oh, well, but it's a matter of public record and we can continue it next month. And I said, but they don't know that. So they're going to be coming or posting.
Right.
That once again, the planning board is doing things.
Yeah, no, it's
I don't know why.
I mean, they always seem to have issues.
How are you, Bruce?
I'm good, how are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I haven't been in here before.
Yeah, well,
I love this.
here it is.
Was it, those do renovations before? Is that what we was talking about?
Yeah.
You can't really tell.
I was-
Yeah.
that was the next question.
It was allegedly renovated. I know, when I came back, I was like, why did they put plugs in the floor? They still couldn't get a plug to the computer. Yeah, no, they actually, what they did was, they were working on the ADA access for it.
So what was this before?
And this, you mean like historically?
Yeah,
It
was
was a
it,
bank one time.
okay.
But
Well, but the ADA access, again, another only in Hudson story. You can't actually ADA get access to, if you want to see the mayor, you
You
can't
can't do
get
that?
access to the second floor. And if you want to be the mayoral assistant, you can't have special needs because you can't get to your office. So that would be, I would say, failed experiment.
Chris apologizes for honking the horn very loudly. It was a different car, and she was trying to do a friendly Hudson.
I'll have a coffee.
Who wants coffee? You want a coffee? Anybody?
I'll take one if you offer.
You want one?
I'm okay, thank you.
What do you want, just coffee with milk?
Black.
Yeah, you want-
Thank you. Black.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, you're
Thanks, a good day.
Oh, I don't know. When I saw the snow up here, I was trying to cuddle.
I know, I came from, I'm in Chatham, and I'm like, oh, just a normal morning, and then suddenly like 15 minutes out here, it's like, what is going on? Like,
Me too, I came out from the south.
yeah,
Oh.
uh-huh. I was like, it's a blizzard. I was like, what am I driving into? I am going to tell Walter that I just think he should just
Single woman.
die.
Yeah, we should probably try it.
Yeah.
It goes a little bit. He's on the air, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
How would he dial into, he said, can I dial in? Where would he dial into
Is there not a number on the city website?
well, I would know how to access that with my Zoom.
Okay, are we on Zoom or we're on
I mean,
Outlook, right?
hi Miranda. Hi Jen, how are you? I'm okay.
Surprised.
No. Yes, I guess they kind of got it right today.
So on the city website, if you click on the calendar,
Yeah.
there's information on the Microsoft Teams meeting, and if you click, I think if you click meeting up, no, that doesn't work.
So it's only to do the calendar meeting invite.
Yeah, but that, it looks like they didn't put a calling number on there.
Okay, so,
We might not be able to participate.
right, we got Jeremy.
Yes.
May Walter Chadwick.
He's out of the country and it won't
Can't
let him in.
have access to the Zoom meeting because they got without him because of that. Could he call in? I'm using my phone.
Yeah, you should have a call-in number associated with each meeting.
But we don't, it's not posted on the city website, so maybe Justin has it.
Yeah, Justin would have to give you the phone number, or it may be, why don't you just put him on a speakerphone?
That's why I'm asking. If someone has a phone, that we can put him on speakerphone.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I can put him on my,
Okay, what's your number?
917-371-40.4.
917-371-4024.
4024. Yeah, thanks.
They should publish a phone number of each meeting.
Yes. All right, just to confirm, 917-371-4024.
Yes. Good, how are you all? Should we want to call Phil?
So,
You said play with him.
oh no, Walter Chatham.
Oh, Walter.
He's the public hearing. Okay? I think it's on.
Well, hold on, I'm gonna put it in 1 minute more with Phil. Do we have any reason to Phil's not coming?
I don't. I believe he is coming, but if he's walking.
Oh, well, it's not good.
Hugh Biber is here, but he went to get coffee for everyone, except you two.
Except the two of us, thanks. Jimmy and drink coffee, so really the only one we
You-
can farm by the
you-
just me. Bring me coffee to eight.
Control.
Kim, are you on are you looking at everything on the Teams meeting right now? Or Miranda, are you, did you open up the? I'm just about to. Can you just make sure, confirm for me that the agenda is showing?
Bill just texted that Walter can't log in.
I know,
Oh, you said that already?
yeah, I didn't, but we're on it.
I don't want
I like the last one.
If you want to fly flat.
She doesn't need my coffee.
He got an extra coffee just for you.
Yeah. Oh, just regarding the text.
When you're late. You're late.
Let's read the second text, so should have that.
Thank you, Bill. Make sure he's dialing. I asked him to dial in at 10:10. Walter Chatham.
Oh, chat.
See my message. He's gonna make live.
Oh, my phone, I assume. Do I remember that?
Mention on that.
Tell Walter to call my phone and all.
I did. Yes, the agenda's here. Wonderful, thank you. Sorry, we're just waiting for our chairperson, and we're gonna open the meeting with the public hearing for 123 Union Street. And we're actually will proceed with the yeah.
You know, Bill is not doing,
Excuse me?
Bill's not doing.
Okay, no problem, let's kick it off.
So wait, so you guys have elect a chairman for the meeting? Yeah, great.
I vote for me. All right.
We have a quorum.
My thing, is I have to, no, I have to make computer sick with that agenda. What's first?
We'd like to open the meeting.
Is it a public hearing?
Yes,
Okay.
open the meeting. Here's the agenda. The commission will receive public comment on proposal 123 Union Street. Is Walter Chatham online?
I have not received a phone. Pardon me.
Okay, want me to try them?
But we just have to make, just for the record, can we open the meeting and state all the commissioners present?
Commissioner Sobel is present. Commissioner Stein is present.
Drew Biber.
Paul Barry.
Kim Wood.
Miranda Barry.
And we will note that our chair, Phil Foreman, is absent. Okay, we will now can I have a motion to open the public hearing? Jeremy and you. All right, let's do that. All in favor, great. So let's open the public hearing.
Okay, I'm gonna try to put you on, speakerphone. You're gonna speak very loudly. Okay, everyone, Walter's on speakerphone. You want to
I believe this is the, we'll be reminded that it's 123 Union Street. And the architect who represents the owner and made the initial presentation, Walter Chatham, is on the phone. Hi, Walter.
Walter, hello.
He's on speaker.
Oh, maybe they pressed it.
Walter, can you hear us? Okay, great.
Speak up, Walter.
Walter, we're gonna need you to project as much as you can, given the situation. So, we generally, in a public hearing, we generally ask the applicant to make a brief presentation about the project. Then we'll open it to the, audience comments. So Walter, go ahead. We have it in front of us.
Okay, so Jan is really good going through everything, and the board has already seen it. I know that public hasn't. Apologize for not being able to confirm personally. So very quickly, 123 Union is a large brick building. Yes. Most of you probably know on Union Street, it's seen better days, and underneath is to fix the house and the storage for family residents, do the guest house, the garage at the back of the property. And so we will draw a whole addition occupancies other than in our case, the most attractive option is to build a building that reflects the existing building. Now, presenting that to the board, and there was some, very productive comment that we talked about, so, making almost a joke out of it, trying to get through that. And we made some details, which I hope, I'll look at, so it's not a problem anymore. And I did want to point out, I think this is important, when you look at some of these buildings, the original buildings may very well have been built in three phases. Possibly the back of that building, which has much smaller window line, we were, 900 mullions here, there are windows, and then just like how the building, the original building was everything and replacing the building. And then from the left hand up here over is a wing that was added. I went and looked at the sample mass, was told that was up the building. And all of the house that we see today was there, and except for that little porch on the side. So, you know, very early on, doing these days, it's sort of thing, and each one is slightly different, but they're essentially the same architecture. So we said, let's decide if we can propose to do that, and we did a two-story building, which we thought would be nice and better than the setting of the site. And reflects the character of the neighborhood we hope. And, you know, the last thing I'll say, and everything I'll say to everybody else is that this consistency is changing very quickly. We have two proposals in front of zoning at the moment to do little houses on Hartley further down. And I think perhaps in most of the places, if it can grow, logically, consistency is probably the easiest question. So we're spending tons for consistency moving forward. My opinion is that the building sets another challenge. We all disagree that and work it out. There's something that everybody can do perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Walter.
And all of it, John, that there are people on the Zoom.
Yes.
If we could maybe recap what Walter just said so that it really is a public hearing, because I don't know if they could hear it.
Okay. So I'll try and anyone else can chime in. So he is presenting, you know, two major changes to the building. The first is the addition in the rear, which we understood there was always an addition, but he's making it, changing it from a 1-story to a 2-story. Is that correct?
The rear garage.
No. Okay, that's simply it's a rehabilitation in the same footprint, right? So that is not really an addition. The major change to the building is the addition of the garage/carriage house, right? And that is new construction, and it's you know, 2, almost 3 stories. And I think that is something that we've heard a little bit about, and that probably is the cause for this public hearing. So
it's to be clear, it's to demolish the existing garage and replace with a new 2-car garage and apartment above. And it's, I'm showing it to the Zoom folks, to the public here. This is part of Walter's presentation.
do we have anyone in the room who would like to make a comment?
Could I just ask a question of Walter? He said, Walter, I hope you can hear me. I believe you said that you had made some changes to the design that you presented to us at the last time. Can you point out what those changes are?
Yes, thank you for asking. We did a change, what we're looking at, particularly the 608, 671. We scaled back a couple of details and changed the materials and rentals. Originally, we were trying to make the house, you know, those kind of, tiny things, and kind of so now we're doing very tiny rentals that are similar to what the rear of the house shows. And there's a 3D presentation that hopefully makes all that clear.
Could you show us the 3D presentation, Jan, do you know where it is? The drawings.
So while he pulled that up, what he said was changing 6/6 windows to 6/1 and scaling back details on the sills and lintels that were mimicking that.
They now match the rear of the house instead of the front of the house.
Okay.
Okay. Walter, I'm going to find the 3D presentation. Just so everyone can see. I believe it's the MP4. The 3D 3D view binder.
That should be it.
Okay, let's see.
We haven't shared the other last week.
We found it, Walter.
Okay. And I will share this now with. Okay. So here we go, and it's for everybody here, it's on screen here. So I'm playing the 3D view right now,
So this is the Warren Street view. Oh, no, sorry,
the Union Street view. So this is the house, and behind it is, this is the replacement of the failing garage that fronts or that backs onto partition. And this is the side view.
Don mentioned, almost 2.5-story home that was true, that it was downhill from the main house, but hosting the two presentations really emphasizes that.
Do you know how much of the grade change there is, Walter?
I think it's about 20 feet.
Okay, thank you.
And then here is the back. This is on partition looking into the backyard. So this is the new structure that Mr. Chatham is proposing. And this is the back of the house, which is really just replacement windows and so forth. And now we're back here, Union Street. This is an existing home, and this is the building in question.
Walter, is there anything you want to say about the condition of the building that's being demolished, just to allay any fears from the public?
The roof is already changed there and it's taken enough for putting in the sides, it's unspaced and it's unsightly. So, people want to go try and make their own features. That's my opinion.
Do you have a picture of that? Walter, thank you for this 3D rendering. It helps a lot.
You can make it great.
Okay, let me see.
There's a question in the audience here. Do you have a question?
Oh, sorry, no, I was just waving hello to Paul. But I would like to make a comment, but it is possible to make a comment.
I think it's fine for you to make a comment. Good. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, it is fallow and caving in due to the owner's own neglect. I think that is very important to note here. It seems to be the owner's prerogative to let things fall apart to the point where they feign some sort of neglect issue and then, oh, it has to be demolished. Well, they have the means to do so, just like a number of residents in town take care of their properties so they do not have to be demolished, but that's just one issue. I don't believe that there's any precedent in the Northeast for this type of mini-me scale of architecture. There's certainly, therefore, it's non-conforming to the historic district, and it's more of a Disneyland cookie cutter. I can't say anything positive about it, but I think that from that parcel used to have a structure on it. The footstone of that house is still there. From that stone, you can see directly across the street through, happens to be my yard, to what Jeremiah Rasconi has made a perfect example of a sensitive and appropriate build on a historic alley in Hudson. And that, I believe, is behind the Jenkins house. Their carriage house is appropriate for our district. It is conforming to the historic nature of our town. It is not completely out of character like this proposal. And I do not think this board should allow this proposal to go through. I think you should reject it and allow the architect time to reflect on the sensitive nature of our community and redesign.
I have a follow-up question. What is it about this other structure you explained that is appropriate versus?
It is the right scale, it is the right, period design. So it is not, oversized, it is not, misusing material and character and architectural style, to fit the needs of the owner.
Oh, just ignore me. Do you know the address of one you're referring to?
I think it's probably one.
It's 113 Warren.
113
But what's how come, it's difficult to find particularly from there.
Is it 2 stories, it's a garage or something above?
It's a two-story
Is it
garage.
white with the?
No,
No, that's
no,
not
that's
down
on
the street.
partition.
Okay.
This is on Cherry Alley. Right? Yeah, Cherry Alley. So it would be behind,
Union to Cherry.
yes, well, it's on the Warren Street side of the alley, next to the Jenkins house. It's,
I think it's.
or it's the Jenkins house or it's the DAR house?
Well, the DAR, then there's Nancy Wild.
It might be Nancy Wild's house.
It's okay, I just want to see.
Your primary objections are to the scale, material, and style, right? But
Scale, material,
you've given us something that is appropriate for the town hall.
Yes,
Okay, to look at. If we can find it, we'll bring it up. Thank you.
So these are the photos that I'm showing for the Zoom folks and for us that were submitted with Walter's, with Mr. Chatham's application. This is
So
the
that's the
existing
current
garage.
structure.
And let me try to get bigger on it. In fact, it is failing. Yeah. This is, I guess, from the backyard, looking to the back of the house.
Are there any other comments online?
Does anyone, on the Zoom meeting wish to comment?
Yes, we have a hand. Mr. Kopnicki, Mr. McGee? Did you have?
Matt
Yes, I had a question.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry, are you having problems hearing me?
We can hear you
We
now.
can hear you now.
Okay, anyway, I absolutely could not hear any of the presentation by the architect. In any case, also, my recollection is that the building they're wanting to build as the Many-Me is re-sided. It's not on the original side of the garage. Am I correct in that?
Walter, did the location of the rear building move from the original garage location?
Slightly.
Sure, Walter, the question from the audience is, did the site of the new building change from where the original garage is currently sited?
The original garage is just on the property line,
Uh-huh.
and the new building is set back 5 feet to the side.
And I'm showing that. So,
And the owner, I just want to say, John, for the record, the owner bought that garage and just put on this whole again, so did not allow it for a couple of minutes, claiming to want to take it down.
Understood, thank you.
so I'm showing on,
I'll tell you, Walter gave a clarification to an earlier comment that the owner purchased, when the owner purchased the garage, it was in a deplorable condition and did not allow it to get into its neglected state.
But in the footprint piece.
so the
The footprint piece, the footprint piece, this is now set 5 feet in from the property line, whereas the current garage is on the property. Nick will get you, let me just make sure that Matt is done, okay? Matt, did that?
Okay, yes, thank you. So it's actually just set back, but it's in the same site, more or less. Okay, I also agree that the design is out of character with Hudson, and I think that it could be better thought out. I really think that it's would be more appropriate if it looked like what you would expect in Hudson. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick, you have a comment?
My only observation is that, yes, when the owner bought the property, which is, well over a decade ago, that barn was in crummy condition, but that doesn't obviate the situation. The situation is continue to just leave it the way it was. So, yeah, it was deplorable. It became more deplorable over time. And that is demolition by neglect, frankly. Having served on this committee and knowing a little bit about what the language here. The other thing too is that getting to this mini-me approach, we've already seen one mini-me version of this developer's vision. And it isn't great. And I don't think it's necessarily appropriate. I mean, I live next door to it, essentially, one house away. Is it gonna bother me? It's good aesthetically, of course, and we're held to a certain standard on that street. And I think it should be applicable to everyone. You know, when you go forward, you have to defend it has to be in kind, let's put it that way, or at least reflective of architecture in the neighborhood. That's all.
Thank you. Walter, were you able to hear all that?
I'm not clearly, saying that the building is not a
Right, and it's not in character, style is not in character. Just want to make sure you got that.
I was going to start with looks just like the back of the building that's really shooting the stone. So is that building is character, why wouldn't the garage be in character? I was trying to agree with this, and so I understand that people wanted to look like a garage, and I'm trying to say as nice people as can, I think this is important in the discussion that goes with the average HPP. I'm saying that seriously appropriate places to put it in housing. Our sister student was a legal student for a house fund. They were looking at a wonderful opportunity if she wanted to move to garage. I'm sorry, it's not the correct reason, and this is beyond regulation, and you know, trying to match students, the building partly, the board making an information, and I'm trying to understand how to respond to it. Maybe same materials, the building, the top of you get all of the time, which is appropriate.
Thank you. If you didn't hear that on the Zoom, I'll attempt to summarize Walter's response to the comment that it's not appropriate stylistically, right, is that it shares the same materials, and he also referenced the fact that Hudson is in need of housing, and this is an opportunity to create more housing. Okay, are there other comments from the audience or from the remote attendees?
Well, Mr. Kopnicki, your hand is still raised. Would you like to make another comment, or can you just take down your hand?
No, I am sorry. I did leave it up unintentionally. However, I would just like to say for myself that I would have liked to have seen more examples, if they exist, of this sort of structure, either from the Northeast, and I think perhaps one was that has been adduced, or from the South or anywhere else in the country, just as an example, you know, further examples. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Walter, if you didn't hear him, Mr. Kopnicki just said he wished that he had seen more examples in the Northeast of similar configuration. All right. Are there any more comments from the public? Right. Okay.
No.
We don't comment now. We're gonna take this up in the meeting. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing? Jeremy and Hugh. All in favor? Aye. Walter, we can leave you on here. We can call you back. I'm not thinking. What do you think is the best logistically to do?
I'm happy to
Maybe we can do this first.
Yeah, let's do this first.
You know what, we're gonna do this, Walter, we'll do this first because you're remote, and then we'll let you go. All right. Give me a sec. Is anyone here for a certificate of appropriateness itself?
I think I am.
You are, what is that, Allen Street?
116 Union.
Oh, okay, that's at the end.
No, I'm sorry, that's a discussion.
A new
The actual approved appropriateness certificate, some people come to pick them up.
Have votes to
All right, then we'll get those at the end. Excuse me, we will, why don't we just deal with, the commission will can deal with the 123 Union Street, what we've just seen. Now, can I, I'll open it to the commission for comments. Yes, Paul?
I think it looks too much like the house. Perhaps a different finish if it was barge board or clapboard or something different. And I do have some concerns about the scale, but I don't know how much conversation we can have about that.
Understood.
I would bounce off of that, because like just looking at it, I think this is only 6 feet shorter than the primary. And it's too much of like, it's the same house next to it. It feels like it's overcrowded on the lot, which I'm sure it's to code for lot coverage and that's fine. But it's not even a mini me, it's practically a replica.
Mhm.
And that makes it harder to see in the scheme of, the whole fabric of the historic.
Yeah, is it in the same footprint as the original?
It's slightly bigger and moved into the lot slightly more.
So somewhat, it's similar.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
Yeah, but the existing is,
I know about the height of the same footprint.
yeah,
The original was on the property line, they moved it over 5 feet.
and the existing was, 1 story, right?
Correct.
Right, no, I know the height,
Yeah.
but I'm saying footprint.
When you think about the approaches you could take in this scenario, one is to make it decisively different than what the other is, so it could be more contemporary feel, it could feel like this is something new, not a kind of a replica or a lighter version of, so I love this idea of creating more contrast between the two, really determining like, this is the main house and this is a new structure. I think that does make sense to me.
Well, what it comes down to, for this commission, I feel is that, whether we like this design or materials or not, this is somebody's aesthetic, which we have to decide if it's appropriate, right? I mean, if it's not appropriate, then the commission moves ahead. But, I don't think we can say to somebody, unless it is inherently the design that makes it inappropriate, like, we don't like your taste. I mean, I think that we have to talk about that a little bit.
I think we do that all the time, frankly. If we deem it inappropriate.
I'm saying it's inappropriate.
Design,
I know it's inappropriate, yes, okay.
then that's
I
what
just
we
want
do.
to point that out, that we are.
So I think there are essentially 2 parts to this question. One is scale, as Jeremy just said, and the other is design and the appropriateness of the design. One thing that we have not seen at all is the scale of this building in the context of Partition Street. And I think it would be extremely helpful to get a sense of the scales of the other buildings that are on Partition Street, which are truly the neighbors of this new structure.
That's good,
And as to the design, I think there are 2 parts of that question. I think one is this design consistent with other buildings in the neighborhood? The other is what Jeremy just brought up, which is a practice in historic preservation to deliberately distinguish new construction rather than trying to make a copy of an existing older building, to make a new building that may incorporate some of the elements of the older building, to refer to its history, but also be designed in such a way that it's clear that it's new construction. And I think we really don't have enough information about the scale to make an informed decision.
My response to that would be, the construction, the differentiating the construction for a house and new construction, like we did on the other end of Union Street, absolutely. But this is not, we're not differentiating this from other houses, we're differentiating this from other auxiliary buildings, which generally are not created to mimic the houses. That's what I think that's what the whole concern is.
So do you think, for example, that if this house was designed, and with a different material,
Yes.
that would be
I think the problem we're having, I don't think we're gonna be able to do too much about the scale. We have let other single-story garages become two-story garages with units in them. Perhaps not because Hudson needs housing, but because it's a reasonable use and it can still be appropriate. I think we're gonna find that on Partition Street, we've let that happen before. And I think we're gonna find a partition that we have let them, that, you know, there's gonna be a precedent for the appropriateness of going from 1 to 2 stories. I think the problem that we're having is it doesn't look like an outbuilding. It doesn't look like a garage. It looks like another house. And then perhaps the owner architect's intention to mirror the home is actually the opposite of what is needed when created this building. This is no fun to be the chair and a commissioner, I will tell you this.
I just, for
It's
me
easier to-
personally, my issue is not really 1 story versus 2.
Yes, hold on, Walter, 1 second. I'll try to recap everyone if you can't hear. Can you hold on?
But I do think that we can weigh in generally on the scale of this
Sure.
particular design. I don't have an objection to making it 2 stories instead of 1. I agree that we've done that before, but we've also sometimes not been as particular as we should be by the height of the building.
That's right.
And the mass of the building and how that looks on the lot and in comparison to its neighbors.
Well, I would say this, if this was a 2-story flat roof or angled roof, clapboard sided, carriage house looking garage, we probably wouldn't have this conversation, right?
One down the road.
So I think that is like, we've had a month to reflect on this, which I think is helpful, but that to me is probably the difference. If they were set, if what was being presented was actually a carriage house with an apartment above it, then in a traditional style, an appropriate style for that, we might not be having this conversation to such depth. Walter, I can recap. Oh, sure, of course. And also I will let you speak. Do you want me to recap anything that anyone has said, or were you able to follow it?
No, I think I understand, and I'm aware, I completely understand everybody's argument and the logic of it. But again, I'll say this one last time. On Houston Street, was a street in name and also was legal street. The block closest to our property was on the outside of the street. And it's the most common next to the largest houses, little garages, and Paris houses. You understand that it's like a block, and I just think you guys are not getting it, and I understand it's my job to make you get why I think it's such a good idea. And if I can't do that, then we'll just have to do it conventional, just like every other building on the alley that looks nice, and that's what you guys want. Great, I think we're too street, because there are houses that look like houses. And it can be little houses, and they'll be charming. And I'm just trying to say, to wrap up, that I think we basically still need to consider that modern architecture, modern design, something I do with great skill, I think, and delight outside concept, is not appropriate for a child that is largely intact. And anyway, everything gets much better now. We're stored, you know, we took out the total glass, Wall Street, and everybody's looked out, and we were stored. I got it, I looked out too. You all want the same thing. If you guys are going to trade contemporary zeitgeist with good old fashioned little windows, light, deep roofs, and it's fine, but it won't do an artifact anymore. It'll be another town to say anymore.
Thank you, Walter. So I guess the question now is, do you want the commission to vote on this? Or do you want to consider the commentary that's been given by the public and by the commission and resubmit? So that's your decision.
I don't want to switch to any trouble, and I can do that, and I just can't get it, I would ask people on it. But we don't know what to do. And then we can always come back with Well, you know, I stand and I just, I don't disagree. I think this is a bad decision on people saying, don't do this. I think we'll come back to Pine Street and we're gonna get a lot more of these games and still, which is still, but there's no issue longer. And I'll treat them, don't take that flight, they're not simple. Anyway, please go ahead and go.
So can I have, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I do think that there's a third option, which we have, which would be to ask them to come back to the next meeting with more sense of the scale of this building in keeping with other buildings near it on Partition Street, which we have not seen. I mean, a 3D rendering would be super
agree.
helpful.
I think that when we're looking at these 3D renderings and seeing, you know, the house next door and then just this thing on a open plane, you know, where there's no context of the surrounding architecture, it would really help everybody here to, you know, see the context of how this is going to sit. Because that is sort of what we're talking about. You know, how does this thing fit into the space that it is in? And, you know, because you know, there are pros and cons to both sides of this, and I think that is very, very important in terms of how this fits on the block.
And I also think in terms of, I think there's a range of opinion here on the commission, and I'd love to have our chairman be part of the discussion too, but some are advocating that the building should look nothing like the building in front, that it should look like a barn or a shed.
Right.
And I think others of us are saying, since it's new construction, it shouldn't just be a copy of the building in front. It can use some of the elements of the historic style. I'm referring, for example, to the historic district in Miami Beach, which is very carefully managed to maintain the famous Art Deco architecture of that town. But new buildings are literally not allowed to make an exact copy of a building that was previously there. They can have a frieze on it in tile, like other Art Deco buildings, but the purpose is to make sure that a visitor can distinguish between what's new and what's old. And that we're not getting into just copying. So there's a wide range of possibilities of adaptations to this design that do not necessarily need to go all the way to a barn or a shed, but that would distinguish this piece of construction, both let us know its scale and distinguish it from the main house in the front.
Thank you. Go ahead, Walter.
The irony, you know, generally, the irony of what you just said is that the house where it was copied, it was copied when they took the addition of exactly where it was scales on the front. Right? So we're just making another move like that move. So I disagree with that. I also have to say that when they do a study of the 20th century, which is actually the way the secretary of the interior worded the statement that new buildings would be distinct to old buildings, it motions to some of the worst disparate or everything in the history of the world. And because of the changes, why did you do it? They were supposed to be obvious. Why is it supposed to be obvious? I disagree with that too, and I want to be on record and saying it.
I don't necessarily agree with that either. So I think we've been given one example, but I don't know if that's what's being asked. I don't think the issue, you know, I don't know that either the public nor the commission shares your vision for Partition Street as a street of nice little mini houses. That's a distinct, singular vision for you. And, you know, I'm speaking now as a commissioner. I don't share that at all. What I do believe is that it's very possible to have a two-story structure there. 2.5 seems like a lot. And I think it's because we've done this before, and I think it's very possible to design something that doesn't mimic an existing house. And by the way, I don't believe that the addition would count as mimicry. Addition is an addition, right? There's a freestanding structure on partition. So I think my recommendation really, Walter, is don't vote unless this is super important, and go back to the drawing board with feedback that you've gotten both from the public and from an almost unanimous commission about what is appropriate for Partition Street. But if you want us to vote, I shall.
Well, at the very least, it sounds like the board wants the mapping study for the other houses before voting.
Yeah.
There's not enough information.
Go, hold on a second, please, I hear, I'll get that in,
Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead, please, Walter. You were saying something?
I understand what you're saying, we're going to vote it down, I guess we'll bring it back next month and I'll try and figure out something to do. I mean, it's not that I'm trying to fund it, but generally we get along and I'm trying to build the program. I just, my house is very close to the outfield, should be great. I think it's as a part of that, was like the aesthetic homes and homes of the main house is actually makes the house feel regular. And again, I'm constantly in challenge to say the ethics of how we get done in New York. And at this point, I think let's do something that works. Try something that we've tried before. But I hear you loud and clear. Why don't I come back in a month and I'll try to do something magical that satisfies you?
That'd be great.
I think,
Wait, there's more comments, go ahead, Jeremy.
I'll just say, please be sure to include the massing kind of in context. I think that's going to be important for us to see.
Right, the scale of your new building in context with the others around it on Partition Street.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it's, I agree.
You can put the building and we had a photograph of the photograph, right? And then the other is there's nothing on the next lot, which is a new tech lot. Across the street, this is the last, there is a contract, but you guys have to go get me, there will be buildings there. And they won't be my buildings, there will be buildings there, like this, that you can tell them. And again, let me say it one more time, why not little houses? Why does it have to be garages? And carriage houses? We'll figure that next time.
Is there any other comments from the commission? Okay, so there's no action here, right? Thank you, Walter, we're gonna close this phone up, okay? Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you, Walter.
All right. Can we have a review of the minutes real quick? And a vote on those?
Did we close the public hearing?
Yeah.
I think we did close the public hearing. This was actually, we accelerated this. This was the meeting.
Like, did we close this?
We did, yeah.
All right, are there any comments on the minutes from January 10th? So motion to approve from Hugh and second from Miranda, we're gonna say yes, okay.
Okay.
All in favor, aye.
Now we have 4 C of As to vote. And first up is 608 Columbia. And this was for window replacement. 5 new 6/1 wood clad windows pursuant to the specifications. We approved it January 10th.
Motion to approve?
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. There's
Okay,
no conditions there, right?
no conditions.
Thank you.
Next up is 237 Allen Street. Again, windows. This is for 11 new 2/2 wood clad windows. No conditions.
It says with condition.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With this condition was the spec.
The accurate spec sheet. Is there someone here for 237 Allen Street?
Did we receive the spec?
Craig is not with us today.
Well, let's punt that, okay?
Let's see. No, he's not.
Right, this is the one where the woman wasn't sure if she was
Correct.
asking your opinion.
Right. I think we'll wait till we've seen the spec before we
Yep.
vote on that. Okay?
Okay.
6 Willard Place.
6 Willard Place is,
I don't believe there were any conditions because in the end, that front fence, was gonna be the first application or an amendment.
yes,
We added a sentence.
Okay, can I have a vote
the
on?
approval does not include the proposed wrought iron fence, but it did include the cedar pergola the moving the stairs with the new landing and the installation of the horizontal wood slab fence with the 6-foot fence with the 2-foot topper.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness? Thank you. Can I have a, all in favor? So Hugh and Jeremy on that.
Okay.
And now we have 250 Allen. There's an addition with a new rear porch. Were there any, it doesn't say that there's any conditions. Do you remember any conditions, Jan?
No, there were not. This is the removal of the existing rear porch and a new rear addition. The rear wood porch was failing, if you remember. So he's,
All right, can I have a motion to approve that? Paul, seconded by Kim, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
okay.
All right, now these are, we're gonna move on to C of A continuations. These are not new. We've talked about these before. There's a sign and a window. So 251 Allen Street.
That is for the Hudson Navigator, I believe it was called. The applicant resubmitted an application that was 2 inches less in diameter. Is there someone here to speak for 251 Allen Street? In person or online? No. Okay, next up is 208 Warren Street, and that is for windows. And that was, the applicant was going to provide the materiality and the spec sheet.
Yeah, so
Which
it's right
the
there.
applicant has done.
So we went to the wood windows, like you guys suggested, they're panel wood clad, 6/6.
Great.
Could you email this to to Craig Hay?
I think I.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
but I could resend it.
Yes, and then if you could just include me, the signature, and then we'll have it as part of his application. So it's the lifestyle windows, double hung, white.
Light wood or white clad? Light wood.
It was, they're fine.
They're wood clad.
All right.
Can you remind me for this, the whole building or just which facade? Was it, were you replacing all the windows?
No, just the ones in the back, the ones in the front are gonna stay. So these will basically match.
Okay. So are we voting this that it's complete?
We're gonna vote as complete and then we're gonna approve that.
If it's emailed, I'll just.
So can I have a motion to find the application complete?
Motion.
All right, Paul and Hugh, can I have a motion, all in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to waive a public hearing and instruct the city attorney to issue a certificate of appropriateness? Kim and Paul, all in favor? Aye, thank you.
Good, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
2 weeks,
so
right?
much.
It'll be ready in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I hope so. No, that's what we'll get. Yeah.
Yeah, you can pick it up, I don't know. You can pick it up here, or you
It's
can
gonna
pick
take
it up,
time.
it'll be mailed to you, but I mean, you can just monitor it and then it'll be approved.
Okay.
In 2 weeks, you'll be good. All right, 326 Union Street.
Correct.
It's a new application. Do you have anyone here from 326 Union Street? I am here. Great.
Okay. This is a addition to a previously approved application. There were some modifications, I believe. So you're online, and if you'd like to.
Okay, let me see that. Bruce Jaffe, I've been in front of you before. About a year ago, we had a project approved, 326 Union. Jen, if you scroll down, you'll see page 4, I think. One more. This will give you a sense of the building that we're talking about. As we began the project, we uncovered a lot of structural issues. This was about a year ago. That started with the foundation. It's also within the building. They removed the floors. They removed the interior walls. And there's just been a succession of issues that we discovered.
I got it.
And in doing so, we have decided that we were gonna leave this largely untouched from the outside. And we were doing stuff in the back. But because we've done so much tearing apart, it's now down to the studs on the inside. What we want to do is shore up this part of the building as well. Okay, and so we're asking to change out the windows, solidify the porch, and then because it's also falling down. So in doing so, make it more appropriate. We're gonna put a door in that we prefer, and then the siding, which is deteriorating, and there's only vinyl siding. We thought there was flap underneath on the west side. We're going to replace the siding with light siding. Okay, so that's the scope of what we're asking for. Okay, so I'll take those one by one. That makes sense? Okay. So we'll start with the windows. The windows that you have to go down a little bit.
This way or?
I think you go, yes.
Okay,
That's right there. So for the windows in the front, we are looking for narrower, larger, more consistent with with windows in the neighborhood. And these will be 6 light windows. The size are 3 by 6 by 8. And again, they are much more consistent with the windows in the neighborhood. Right now, they are more boxier. When we opened up the frames, the windows that were put in were not fully, they had rejiggered them when they did this. The windows on the east and west side, we are looking to replace them like for like. And so the just new, energy efficient, consistent windows right now, it's a hodgepodge. And so there are, scroll down. Let's see. Keep going a little bit, please. So those windows there are on the east side. There's actually 6, and one that's blocked by the tree on the lower right. Those will effectively be the same size, but they'll be new windows. Scroll down again, and basically the same thing is happening on the, those are the windows that we were just talking about. You scroll down a little bit more. On this is the east side. Hello. Sorry. Those will all be replaced. And let's see, yes, again, like for like, just newer windows. I'll also add, if you scroll down a little bit, that in the last application, this was approved to be a window put in. So in the drawings, you'll see there's a window, but that was already approved in the prior COA. Right? But the other replacing of these other ones were not. So that's the windows. Why don't I keep going through the whole thing and then we can go back and ask.
Well, can you go back to the windows for a moment? What are the windows you're proposing to put in?
They're Marvin, it looks like, wood 101.
The
Ultimate, Marvin Ultimate, they're aluminum clad. We've had them approved many, many times. They're not wood, because the wood, they give you a much wider muntin. These are much more historical looking because they're not narrow muntin on the front. We're not using muntins on the back. And they're, we said 1/1.
The side, on the side, they're 1/1, and on the front, they're 2/2.
Correct.
The window that was approved on one of the sides before was the same. Other questions on the windows? Nope, okay. So then, moving to the porch.
Do you have a page that you'd like me to?
You, but.
You and it.
You go to page. We'll go to page 5. Obviously, yes, go to page 5. In fact, if you go one above. Okay, this is the current porch. It's pretty janky and falling apart. So it's there's no detail, there's wood, columns. You scroll down, what we're proposing on doing is to put cylindrical columns, and the current ones are, put a little detail around those columns. And then put some detail around the roof line and some, we call it dentals.
Across the roof line.
And then it is, I think that's pretty much it on that. And then the door, this is a door that we found on Warren Street. We love it. We'd like to put that door in, and we're gonna have a window transom above it.
And that door is gonna be made.
It will be.
It's gonna be wood. That's gonna be made.
Okay, and then finally the siding. Again, it's wood clad siding, just consistent throughout that whole section. All three sides. And questions?
Is the roofing material for the Newport?
The color determined, I mean, I guess it would just be, it doesn't show really. So normally we would just be using PDM. It doesn't show.
Wood clad siding, what kind of wood are you talking about?
Cedar.
The dental detail at the additional porch covering, is that from anything on the building, or it's just
Just a, maybe we don't have to use it.
We're across the street and we have a dental molding, so.
There you go.
Yeah, I was just curious if it was
Yeah.
specific. That's
So
all.
it's appropriate.
Yeah.
From that.
There's a whole, there's
a lot of
it.
Yeah, I have no issue with that, I was just curious if it
Yeah, I
was there.
I think it'd be nice, I'm not tied to it.
No, I have no problem, I was just curious if it was replicating what was there.
No, there's very little detail.
Got it.
Dental or
Any, next page?
otherwise.
Or,
Those are just the architectural.
that's it, other thing?
Yeah, it's good to me.
Me too. Is there any discussion? Anyone want to make comments? Great. Can I have a motion to waive a public hearing? That, find the application complete? Paul and Hugh, can I have a motion on favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to instruct, I did this in Robert, you know, we don't. That thing. Can I have a motion to instruct the city attorney to draft a certificate of appropriateness? Miranda and Paul, on favor? Aye. Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Okay. 752 Warren.
Craig is on it.
Okay.
Hi, Fred.
Hello, everybody.
Ah,
Craig, 752. Which application?
This is,
Yeah.
garage, the corner of 8% on the north side.
Yeah, 752.
And I've got a PDF for presentation.
Okay. Which PDF, which would you like, the HPC submission or revised?
Well, do you have a USB?
I think if you emailed it already, she might.
Yeah.
It's a different presentation.
Oh, okay.
It's a little clearer than going through the whole thing.
Okay. Let me, thank you.
It also has USB-C if you need that. You can-
Chris Perry?
That's me.
Okay, let me just share it with the public. Okay. would you like to take us through it?
Yeah.
So this is for 752 Crescent Garage, and it's a modification of an existing project.
Yes. Hi, Commissioners. This is a project that's been in front of you many times before, previously approved. We made some minor modifications, which you can barely see from the street, and I'll show you later in the presentation. There's a site plan study, but I'll just run through what the changes are. This is the previously approved version. This reflects the modifications that we've made. The biggest change is this elevator shaft, large structural massing through the building. We have an opportunity to salvage some of the historic brick from the existing elevator shaft in the building to clad this. And we felt that that was more appropriate for this large structural massing to show it, as opposed to clad it in something that would kind of hide that massing and be a confusing job here. Also just bring some character from the existing elevator shaft. The roof line here, we brought this a little bit lower so that this fascia continues through, and that just structurally didn't resolve how we had it drawn before. Makes it less visible from the street. And there was a small pass-through window here into a prep area, and we removed that. If you go down in the drawing, the next page, we moved these windows slightly from what they were, just to align with the columns inside that position. And if you'd like to look at the site plan study, really the only thing visible is this, if you were down Warren Street, across the street by Rivertown, you can see that this roof line here, which is already minimally visible, a little bit lower.
Any discussion on this? That's the end of, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, but do I have a motion to, is it a new act or just an amendment?
I think just amendments previously approved.
Well, Craig is on the line. Craig, would this be considered a continuation or is it a new application? Craig? Oh,
Chairs in.
okay. Here he is. Oh, he's on the line. Okay.
Well, I think it's an amendment, because we've approved it once, so we're amending the prior approval.
Okay. So-
Did you need, hello, did you guys need me?
Yeah, we were just asking, the applicant would like to know for the Crescent Garage modifications, the slight modifications, is
Yeah.
it considered an amendment or a new application?
Their original application was approved. So then this would be a new application amending the first one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was that question you made about fees? Were you asking for the fee? No.
Whatever you guys want to do.
To vote on the application,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Waive a public
we
hearing.
needed to have submitted an application.
Which we, this is a.
Yeah, but it's a new application. But
Okay.
did you submit the new paperwork?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Then may I have a motion to find the application complete? Kim, Miranda, all in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion to waive a public hearing and instruct the city attorney to issue a certificate of appropriateness.
Yes.
Paul, Kim, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. We're gonna break ground in a couple of weeks on structural stuff in the basement, so excavation, concrete, and some columns. We're still working through our capital stack to go all the way through the project, but we hope that we resolve that as that structural stuff's happening. And if we can stay on schedule, we're 18 months of construction, starting in a couple of weeks.
Very exciting. Good luck.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
All right, I'll take that USB from you.
So we have,
Wait for just a second, please.
okay.
You don't even worry about it. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Next up, did we skip 105 Union Street? Yeah, I think we did. Is there someone online to speak for 105 Union Street?
Hi.
Kylie?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, could you speak up? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me better now?
No.
Speak up.
Hold on a second. Let me.
We're up all the way. Can you just
Talk loud.
talk loud? Yeah.
Talk louder. Is that any better or no?
That's a little better, yes.
Okay.
I'm bringing the application up. Just give me a minute here.
I can share my screen if you'd like.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the existing site. The hatch is the existing building, and then there's a little deck here at the back. We're proposing to remove the wooden deck at the back. It's not in terrible shape, but it's not in great shape. And then there's a wood framed addition at the back here, but it doesn't provide a lot of space on the interior. So the clients are looking to expand their interior space and add this 30-foot addition. It would be first floor and second floor addition. And then there'll be a small courtyard space. And then the property currently does not have a garage, and they would like to explore their off-street parking options. Because it's built into a steep hill at the bottom of Partition Street, there's an opportunity to have a studio/storage space on the second floor, which would be level with the courtyard space. Because their courtyard space would be so small, they're looking to have a roof deck, maybe not at first, but in an iteration of the building, so that they could have additional patio space outside.
Kylie, could you make your presentation a little bigger, so that we can see?
Yeah.
It's very small.
Okay, maybe maximize your screen.
Yeah.
So the green would be the new addition. It would be wood framed. It's offset from the property line. There is currently a party wall between these two buildings. There's a set of 3 row buildings, and it's the last one in the set of 3. So this building here is more offset. So then they'd have about 10 feet of courtyard space, and then about 21 to 22 feet of garage space. This is the existing front elevation. Nothing is changing here. This is the back porch, the wood porch that we'd be removing, and then the wood framed addition that would be removed. This is the current kind of side yard condition that exists along, mostly just for those 2 windows to get light. So the proposed addition would actually cut into that a little bit. And then this is the existing Partition Street view. So there's these stairs and this retaining wall that's here. It's not in great shape. The trees have since been cut down, but there's still a lot of foliage there. And then they would like to have a garage. It's very similar to most of the other houses on Partition Street here.
Is there a site plan that shows existing and then new?
I don't currently have that right now.
It's okay, I was just curious, flipping through it.
I can definitely bring it back to the next meeting. We are also attending the ZBA. Because it will,
Yeah.
it's going to require a variance. There's already slight nonconformance between the property lines there. And so that needs to be addressed. But none of the new structures are over the property line.
Is it also looking at lot coverage with the ZBA, or is it's only the,
Code would do that, right?
yeah,
I'm not totally sure.
okay,
Our civil department is going to be doing that.
yeah, okay.
Is the addition, do you have a view of the addition? Is it 1 or 2 stories, that new piece?
The new addition is going to be 2 stories. The existing is a single story. So they're going to be expanding the volume on the first floor and on the second floor.
Right, I think they're asking you to show the plans for that.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
render.
So this is the existing side elevation, existing front elevation, and existing rear elevation. And then this is going to be the proposed. So in nature with the rest of the building, we're going to step the roof down and continue the molding across the top parapet here. Because they are so close to the neighbors, they did want some light to come in on this side, but didn't want a lot of windows. This new addition creates this small outdoor enclosure area that still needs to be accessed. So there's going to be a new door here. There's a little Juliet balcony here. So you won't be able to walk out on it, but the French doors on the inside will open up. And then the garage space here, level with the courtyard space, but then has the roof deck on top.
Is that side yard theirs or the neighbors?
The side yard is theirs.
So is Zuccotti Engineering the architect of record?
Yes.
It's not really my area, but I wonder about fire safety, with this amount of lot coverage
Well, I think we should assume that that will be
That'll be-
managed by someone else.
by the ZBA.
But I think the question is this amount of lot coverage appropriate?
Yeah.
Right, and there's this, and the scale of this addition, is that appropriate? The addition and
Every
every
ounce of the space is being covered.
Except for that little courtyard where the.
Patch, right, yeah, that's a patch.
So let's just assume that someone else is looking to whether you're allowed to build this.
I mean, usually we wait until after approval from the ZBA or planning, if it's required.
Well, we can have a discussion on this now, but I think what is clear would be clear to me is that such an alteration, which this will have impact to its neighbors and lots of vistas. I think we'd have to have a public hearing on this, right? So I'm gonna say that we should have a public hearing and proceed. The application is before us, and Craig could tell us whether or not we should wait for the zoning board. But let's just assume that goes ahead and we can move on. So, does anyone else want to discuss this for currently, or do you want to, or does anyone else agree that we should have a public hearing?
I agree we should have a public hearing.
Okay,
Do we want them to consider anything before that public hearing is the question then?
yeah.
I mean, are there problems that we're seeing now that they can preemptively address?
Right. Go ahead, Paul.
Just the total massing and the fact that it's gonna cover practically the entire parcel, entire lot. That's a little overwhelming.
It's such a narrow lot, like I get they want space.
Mhm. Okay, so, I'm sorry, who's? Kylie, I think that's one general comment, is the scale of the addition may not be appropriate for where it is, and so I think that might be something you could take back to the owner.
Okay.
And that's probably it. So I think what we're gonna do is we are going to, can I have a motion to find the application complete? Right? Yeah. Paul, Hugh, All in favor? May I have a motion to schedule a public hearing? We can do that in 2 weeks, or we can do it in 4 weeks. Katie, Kylie, I'm sorry, do you have an opinion?
Well, Craig, what's your thought on waiting until after ZBA?
That is totally, the commission's call. They are seeking a variance through the ZBA. I do know that the ZBA meeting was scheduled for this Wednesday. It has been postponed.
Okay.
And it won't be scheduled till the third Wednesday in March. So,
I mean, I agree that there is a circular sort of process here in terms of if you're trying to get approval for the massing and the sizing through ZBA and the layout and lot coverage. And if that becomes a concern at ZBA and then also needs to be addressed in HPC, there would be a little bit of back and forth there. So I guess I'm good with either way.
I would recommend you move forward with HPC, because if HPC doesn't find it appropriate, there's no point in going to the zoning board for that particular variance. If they're not covered.
that's what I would suggest too.
Okay.
In that case,
So
for
then
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Is that good enough for you, or do you want 4?
I can do it in 2 weeks.
Great.
Can you bring some site plans?
Definitely. Yep.
And if you, what else is very helpful, particularly with this scale of new construction, is any kind of 3D rendering you can bring us, and that shows us particularly like what it's going to look like from the neighbors, or just the context of how this large structure is going to exist among all these residential buildings.
I think also be prepared to explain the window campaigns that you've added on here, just a little bit more in the thought process.
I do have those. Yep. And I have materials which also address Miranda's comment about fire safety. The proposed materials are hardy board so that you can get a little bit of that fire fire construction between the neighboring properties. And it would be spec'd to match what's there.
Okay.
So I can bring those.
And just as a commissioner, I would say I find this scale to be out of scale, right? Like imagine if every townhouse in Hudson did this, it would be rather shocking. So I think an architectural and appropriateness conversation is going to be something you should expect at the hearing.
Understood.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I have a hand raised.
Yes, someone from the public.
Mr. Kopnicki, Mr. McGee?
Yes, it's Matt McGee. I was a little
Oh, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Somewhat. If you could speak loudly, that would be great.
Okay, I'm trying to speak as loud as I can.
That's much.
This is better?
Yes, much better.
Okay. I was a little disappointed. I had my hand raised about the house on Union Street. I believe it was 326, where the porch was being taken off and the door changed. I was disappointed. I thought that there should have been some historic photographs of the original building to know what had actually been there before, because it sort of appears to be a Greek revival house that's been rather extremely altered, but it would have been interesting to know that and maybe be guided by what had been there. But in any case, thank you very much. And
I think it was when they originally filed photographs.
This was
So
an amendment.
they looked at the photographs on this house and clearly they exist from a year ago when we had this discussion. Furthermore, the porch that's on there now is not the original porch. So I think they're doing something that's far more tasteful and appropriate. And knowing what we know or don't know, because we don't have those photographs.
We did have a public hearing.
We did that, yes. We did that. Anyway,
Are there any comments, any other comments? Thank you. We have one more, correct?
Well, did you make a motion to set the hearing?
We did.
Okay, you did, yeah.
So we were setting it in 2 weeks today.
Okay.
okay.
And, last but not least, right?
Yes, just a moment, sorry. 116, Union Street, and our applicant is here. in
Oh,
person.
hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks, great meeting.
Uh-huh.
I'm just here to change my roof to a metal roof. During construction, it was compromised prior, but there's no salvaging the shingle roof. And I would just like to put a metal roof on. It's obviously gonna last a lot longer. It's gonna be a lot safer for the house. And I think it's gonna match the character of the neighboring houses much more appropriately than asphalt shingle.
I have your application up here now.
Great.
Uh,
The material that I was gonna choose is on the email as well that I sent to Craig. But it's just a very standard, new standing seam metal roof. I'm choosing the profile that matches, I don't know, I guess it was in like the 1890s roughly. So
Let me just ask, you're taking such enormous pains to restore this house and we're enthusiastic. Is there evidence that, that is the type of roof that would or could or should have been on this house? And, the period you're looking to restore it to?
So the period I'm looking to restore it to would have been cedar shake. The quality of cedar shake are so poor that within the next 8 years, they're going to be curled and be, the weathered look looks great, but they're just crap.
Do you consider it composite?
No, I don't want to put composite on. I mean, yes, but I don't want to do composite because it looks like composite. My sounding board, Jeremiah, has urged me to go with metal. And honestly, I just kind of take his opinion as gospel. And
What color metal would it be?
I am choosing colonial red. So a color that it would possibly have been painted at that period. And it's a very dark red. I don't really know how to describe it. So yeah, that's why I'm choosing it.
There's been so many improvements to this place under your stewardship. It's pretty awesome. Like even just looking on Google Maps, the update of that from, the original application, right? It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm almost gonna be done 1 year. Yeah.
Are there any other questions from the public or from the commission?
Yeah. Mr. Kopnicki, Mr. McGee, your hand is still raised. Is that a new hand raise or?
No, sorry, again, I forgot to lower it. Sorry.
No worries.
All right. Then in that case, is this a new application or amendment to your existing?
The new application.
So may I have a motion to find the application complete?
Yes.
Paul and Hugh, all in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to waive a public hearing? And direct the city attorney to issue a certificate of appropriateness. And assume we have spec on this, Henry, like a spec sheet or something?
Yeah, I
Yes.
touched the
It's all
cut sheet.
part of
Thank
the
you.
application.
All right. Paul and Hugh, and all in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Nice job.
Really nice job.
They do have to come for my window approval eventually, but.
We'll see you then.
Yeah.
I'll try to.
All right, motion to adjourn this meeting.
Aye.
Paul and Hugh, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Nice.
Thank you all. The meeting is over.